Yo, yo, yo. We're back. Markets are still falling, free falling. Gold coming down to that daily area now. Oh, look at gold. Haven't traded, been chilling. Was gonna trade this morning, decided not to. Markets come down to this area. Gold is crashing. We're live. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat. Yeah, gold's crashing down. It's come down to this daily area. Price is still extremely bearish, though. Still extremely bearish. There's no really reversal signs. It's just at a key area where, yeah, price could bounce, could potentially reverse. We got a bounce going into tomorrow. Definitely a key area to watch. We've come down all the way to $4,100. Last time we were here was in March. We were at $4,100 in March. We might sweep below 4,100. We could even go a little bit below it, honestly. Could try to sweep below it, $20, $30. You're at a key area, though, that $4,100 level. Looks like price just almost tapped into 4,100 moments ago. Markets overall still weak. Last night, like I was streaming last night in London session, talking about how we could come down to this area. Now this could be an area to watch maybe for buys. We're in here now, ending the day off in a couple of hours. A lot of bearish momentum. Sells have been holding. Sells have been, if you've been looking for sells, that's you're going with the trend. That's a good way to go. If anybody's been catching sells, good for you. I've been missing trades. It is what it is. Just one of those markets, you got to go with the flow. The line chart can help out too. Last night we were here on this candle. We were on like at 4 in the morning on this candlestick, if anybody remembers, if anybody was there. We were live at like 4 o'clock in the morning on this candlestick here. I was talking about that candle actually. Saying if it breaks, you could get continuations. We actually got that move that I said last night at like 4 in the morning. I broke the chart down for a bit last night during London session here on YouTube. I didn't want to trade this morning because market just seemed like it was just dropping, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna chill. Gonna leave the market be for a bit. Let it do its thing. I know we talked about this like break and retest last night with the candlestick, if anybody remembers. Last night we were like right here on this candle that was breaking down last night. We were looking at gold during London and it broke down here, this candlestick. And once I saw that, I was saying, okay, the bearish momentum's still there, right? Like people are asking if it's buys. I was saying, okay, you could wait. This is what we were talking about last night for possible like continuations. We were talking about this candlestick here, which was engulfing at that time at the low. It was starting to break, and then when you're getting like a behavior like that, I think it was this candlestick right here actually, this one that I'm going to circle, this one right here was engulfing underneath, was breaking the low. So that behavior kind of tells you, you know, okay, you're still bearish momentum. You could get continuations, more probable to get continuations in here. I was at like 4 in the morning. I went over that at like 4 in the morning. Yeah, we continued another wave down. I don't want like sells now. Its price is super low. Again, we've come into this area. It's like I wouldn't, you know, price could still go down, but I wouldn't be like looking for sells here. It'd be like kind of selling super low. Price is just doing its kind of old fashioned of like break and retest. You're getting like break like here. You just kind of got a little continuation down on those lows. But yeah, that's like one thing I was able to kind of spot last night at the right time. Like it's that candlestick. You know, that candlestick was actually pretty important at that time. 4 in the morning. You have that engulfing. So it's like at that point, it's like this could likely continue. It could make continuations when it looks like that. If the momentum's still there. I was at like 4 o'clock in the morning, literally 4 a.m. like. And yeah, we've got that big push down. Like we've got a big push down. Gold's still dropping, bearish overall. Yeah, overall just bearish. Whoops. You can even see this week, we just crossed over, like this week. We just crossed over the 200 moving average this week. Like with the breakdown that happened this week. Crossing over that. We're getting a crossover on one of the moving averages here as well. We can see on weekly chart. So if we look at the weekly, the 50, we got the 50 EMA here. The 50 EMA is crossing over. We got the moving average up here, which is already crossed over. That happened already, like up there more. So we've crossed over this as well. As you can see this week, dumping down, crossing over extremely. And daily. We go daily, we got that 200-day moving average right here crossing over. Weekly, super low. You know, we're Wednesday. We'll probably see Thursday, Friday reverse. But the way gold has been dropping this week, we'll probably see some buys towards the end of the week. But we are testing a psychological level. I did talk about this last night, $4,100. I talked about it in the 4 a.m. stream a lot. Pretty much that was like one of the main discussions all stream. So yeah, we are at a psychological level, 4,100 being tested. We have $4,000, which would be like the next really psychological level. We have 4,100, $4,000. So like I'm seeing like we've broken down now. We've made this wave down. We'll probably we'll see potentially 4,100 could potentially hold, go back to 4,300 before potential trend continuations even more down. Or we get a reversal between 4,000 and 4,100, like maybe price comes in this area more, closer to 4K, and creates that same leg up before like more continuations down to, let's say, 3,700, 3,800. Probably expect a bounce in coming weeks, like with this, to return, give us a bounce back up before continuing down. So we've come down super low. 4,100 could be a level that holds. As you can see, we've fully tapped into this area, which 4,100 was in March here. We wicked down into it. Now we're trading more inside of it. Now this is where like you can use previous levels to the left. Like you have a support here. You have a support up here. And obviously like right here. If you're looking for continuations in a sense of like there's a like if price pulls back, that could be a level where it continues off of. It might have already made like some rejection off of there on smaller time frame. That could be one of the levels it even returns to. Tries to do a bounce to the daily lows to the left. You can see these lows to the left. On the bigger picture, it's like you have this low here, which would be getting like a really big move back to, right? So 4,100 tapped. Too low. Like for me, the way I trade, too low to be looking for sells. Like if you're bearish, it's like wait for good pullbacks, try to go with the flow. I think we'll get, we already tapped, like we just missed it moments ago. So it could be a key area to focus on going into the next day. Maybe even making a zone around it. I would say like 4,100, it's holding right now. If we come back to it, I would give yourself maybe like $20 of like an area that, okay, this is my first area around 4,100. If that area doesn't hold, I'll wait for another zone, maybe around 4K, you know? So if you're like 4,100, there was a tap. It almost just tapped, it just missed it. You've pretty much just had like, so in this type of phase, the line chart can be a good chart to use like for breaks, continuations. Even like here, you have like a breakdown, continuation. And when gold's just kind of falling like this, like you can see every pullback is just continuations. There could be some setups you could squeeze into when the market's just kind of falling like this. At our break retest, there's a few even here. When the market breaks these lows or breaks this low right here. Up in here. I mean, inside of here, like when the market's just falling like this, you don't want to be buying. Like, it might give you a setup on the 5-minute. When the market's falling like that, a break and retest on the 5-minute. When you just have like price like this, where it's just falling, you don't want to be buying. You're gonna maybe get a setup on the 5-minute in a market condition like that, right? Where it's like just falling, where it's like a low breaks and it tries to retest that low. The low breaks, it tries to retest that low. You might get like one or two obvious ones or clear ones inside of that flow where it's just dropping. When you see price just dropping on gold, and it's clearly just dropping, like these types of phases, that's bearish. Inside of that, like the 5-minute might be a time frame where you find the way to squeeze inside of it, where like a 5-minute might give you a break and retest on a low being formed. You have a low like this low, market breaks underneath it, okay. Next pullback continues down. And then it continues, makes a lower low. So you have some of these lows in here. As you can see, I just marked. I'll make them a different color because this is red. Let's make this a different color. Let's go yellow. So on a market that's just falling like this, there might be a couple little waves on the 5-minute that like give you a break and retest. See, like right here and right here, where it's like you may be able to go with that momentum. Like here, sells, 5-minute chart, 30 minutes, like charts dumping on the 30-minute, charts dumping on the 1 hour, 4 hours dumping. So like in a momentum phase like that where the trend is strong and it's dropping, and let's say you just have like the 1 hour dumping. You're like, oh my God, gold's just dumping. Oh my God, gold's just dumping. Like that type of phase, or the 30 minutes just dumping. The 5-minute might have a little break and retest set up inside of those momentum phases where it's just dropping. Like you could see like here, this low, market breaks underneath it, forms a lower low. There's a quick little pullback continuation. There's another one right here. And then it reverses, consolidates. Same thing kind of happens in here as it's just dropping. You have a low, it breaks, it almost comes back and retests it. Here you have another low, breaks, retests it, goes down, makes a lower low, comes back, retests this area, continues for a bit. So you might be able to, like if you get used to seeing conditions like this, So one thing is getting used to seeing conditions like this, right? Getting used to seeing those smaller time frame reactions inside of a market that's just dropping on a higher time frame. You have a higher time frame dropping a lot for hours, right? A higher time frame dropping fast for a good period of time. And a 5-minute chart, you might be able to find something to go with that momentum. Where there's like a little mini break and retest. I mean, because if you're looking at the 1 hour, you don't get a lot of those on the 1 hour. Let's say, you know, inside of those phases, you have some points on the 1 hour. Here was a good one. They maybe have a few little bending points on the 1 hour. Like there would have been a good one here. 30-minute, maybe a few bending points like that on the 5-minute that you could squeeze into. Like one's right here. Like on the way down with the 30-minute, you have a low here. Gets underneath the low, the momentum continues for a bit. It's kind of like on the 5-minute, remember the ones I was just showing you on the 5-minute were in here, where it's falling, where it's really falling. Like you might be able to see two to three, but 1 to 2 of them will be clear. Like you might be able to see 3, but you might not catch 3. You might see 1 or 2 of them on a 5-minute inside of those. Especially the more you get used to actually like seeing when price is dropping. If you're watching a 5-minute on that chart and you're like marking some levels as it's breaking, you'll see these types of reactions, or even on a 15-minute at times. Like even on a 15-minute, there might be some points inside of those. If we go to a 15-minute, you have on a 15-minute one here. You can see like that point on the 15-minute as the market's falling. You have a little bending point here on the 15-minute that breaks. Falling. And obviously when we go to the 5-minute, there's like a few of those breaks and retests. There's one here, there's one here. That are just going with that momentum. Where, again, it's, you know, just low, boom, 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 boom. Inside of here on a 5-minute, or inside of here on a 5-minute. So it's like this. It's like if you broke underneath here. Let's just say if like you broke underneath here strong, right? Market was still going with that bearish momentum. It's like, okay, I could possibly use this for continuations down. The 30-minute, even like along the, like you could see a little bit like up here, you don't really have much on the 30-minute. That's why I'm showing the 5-minute, because it's like, okay, you have a support here. So like if you zoom out to the left, you have a support here that gets hit. This probably comes into a key level on the farther side of the chart here, right? But when you're looking at this on like the 30-minute, kind of towards the bottom here where it's coming to, like here, you just kind of have free falling, and here you just kind of have free falling. So to get inside of a trade in there, the 5-minute would have been something to really only execute on, because you're not really getting any bending points on the 30-minute where it's like you can come back retest here. Here is a good point where it's like, okay, I could look for break and retest. Here. So in this market, like a 15-minute, even 5-minute, there can be little spots to understand like the structure and hop in with the momentum. Or even when the 30-minute and 1 hour, like I was talking about last night, we were watching, this was the 1 hour chart last night at 4 in the morning, right? So you have engulfing candle bearish breaking down. So it's like there's a low here I could use in that moment, right? There's a low in that moment that's like I could technically use, which was this low, right? Understanding we could break underneath it. I was looking at, I was here, this is the chart. I took it off, removed everything. That was, give me a minute. Did I take it off? Right here. So that moment was looking at this 1 hour point here, like saying, okay, if we break under here, there's a structure on the 1 hour I can use, which is like, oh, up here, it kind of left. Yeah, it looks like you had a little bending point here, tapped into. So probably 30-minute support there. So last night, it's like, okay, this is a structure point that's like, if it breaks, there could be actually a retest here. Kind of have that here, this point. Yeah, if you're looking at this here. So looking at some of these points that you break underneath, where this momentum is weak in the market. These breaking points you're getting underneath, like you're getting underneath here. You really got underneath here. You actually came back and retested it. How I'm looking at it, this is how I was looking at it more in that moment. Where it's like, okay, this is what could happen. But if you look at these points, so these can be good reference points, like that break underneath. Like here you have a low that breaks, here you have a low that breaks, right here. So good reference points that can react off of, like you can react off of these points that break as the momentum is just kind of like going down. This would have been a great place to kind of look for a retest. Like, okay, this broke down, possibly can still stay underneath there. You can do the same thing on the 4. You go to the 4 hour and look for, you know, like look at, like, so the 4 hour has like right here. All right, so different time frames, like here, look at the 4 hour right here. So if you're just looking at like the 4 hour right now, it's like, okay, you're waiting for a pullback to here. If you're looking at the 4 hour for continuations, right? We just had an engulfing candle too on gold here. Like gold is still weak. Dollar would have to kind of get out of this flag pattern. If you notice, the dollar's kind of consolidating. Pretty much, yeah, just consolidating here. Oil prices, I think, are back above 90. What's oil doing here? Okay. Dollar has been... When we look at look at the DXY. We've literally just been consolidating on dollar. We've had more strength overall here on DXY. Yeah, DXY's been holding above these highs. Looks like it's in a flag pattern. Does look like it's in a potential like flag pattern for a breakout. Yeah, you got, like, if DXY breaks to the upside, that is, gold's gonna just keep dumping, right? And dollar's just been kind of holding itself above these levels. We had a strong push up. We had a strong push up here on DXY, and then we got this pullback, more turning into like a correction, more corrective and consolidating here on the DXY. So if we look at like Euro USD, for example, Euro USD is kind of just, let's see, under these lows. So DXY's breakout, like gold buys would be, if dollar reverses down, huge gold buys coming then. If dollar comes down a lot, huge gold buys coming. But dollar could be in a flag pattern, so if it breaks out, you're gonna have good Euro USD sells, probably, or GBP USD sells. If we get that breakout on DXY, Euro USD would come in with like good sells, or below here on Euro USD. So it depends on dollar. Dollar looks like it could break out to the upside, and Euro could try to go for like those sells down. Or let's see what GBP USD looks like. Yeah, if you look at GU even, like, A nice daily area on GBP/USD. So if dollar tries to go for that spike, you would have like a good GBP/USD down. Right, if dollar tries to go for that spike up, you would have like a good GBP/USD down setup. Because then it would be a flag pattern on DXY to push to the upside. It would be a flag pattern because we have like this push up here on DXY that created the high. And we've just been kind of consolidating on it this week, forming what looks to me more like a flag pattern. And understanding that, it could break out to the upside, right? That happens, gold's going to keep dumping. Probably that would make gold dump below 4K, I think. If that happens, I think gold would go below $4,000. If this is a flag pattern forming on the dollar, we had that wave up here. We had a strong wave up here already on the dollar. So if we get another wave up, that's going to get gold to 4K, maybe even below 4K. I know we're testing the 4,100 right now, which is a very psychological level. Very psychological level. We could probably expect rebounds or maybe bounces off there. Depends on the dollar, though. The dollar is looking stronger right now. So if the dollar maintains itself here, alright, if dollar just maintains itself and pushes up, breaks out, everything's going to keep going down, then a lot of things look like more like in flag patterns. USD CAD's been pushing up, broke out, no sells happened on there. Canada's currency's not doing well against the dollar. That's good if you're in Canada and you make USD. AUD/USD's been kind of sinking, but Euro's been like, look at Euro. If dollar has that breakout, then it's obvious sells for things. Dollar's gonna break out. A dollar reversal, like if dollar doesn't break out, then gold would end up going for huge buys. But dollar's been the last couple of days just above here. To me, looks like we could be in like a consolidation here, flag pattern. So I think if this just kind of maintains itself up here, keeps itself in control, gold buys wouldn't be like a huge trade yet. Gold buys, we need dollar to really start weakening, drop more, because it does have more strength overall here. Possible flag pattern. If so, you gotta watch out on gold buys. Take like a few, you know, I would say like look for not a lot of buys. If you're gonna take a buy, it's one buy at a time. It's like, okay, this didn't work, I'm gonna be patient for my next buy, not taking the next trade 10 minutes later, an hour later, the next trade 2 days later, 3 days later, waiting, right? Like if 4,100 doesn't hold, like I would say if 4,100 doesn't hold for gold, then chill. Like if you're going for buys at 4,100 and it doesn't hold, then just wait, stay patient, wait a day, wait a couple of days, wait till next week to see where price is at. If 4,100 doesn't hold, then because right now that would be your only really buying opportunity around 4,100, maybe even a bit below it. You could anticipate price even trying to wick below it. That'll be the only buy setup or area to keep an eye on, I think. Yeah, to me, dollar looks like it's in more of like a holding pattern right now. More so. Looks like more like a holding pattern to me. Like it's holding itself more. Buyers are more, maybe consolidation, more control. Kind of like a flag pattern, you could say. And if that breaks out, that's a strong move. If that happens, if it breaks out of it, that's a strong move. That's gonna be like Euro USD would dump. You would see like Euro dump or Probably GU try to dump down. If you get those moves. That move, I mean. You gotta watch that flag, really. Like, it's kind of building up to be looking like a flag pattern to me. Like, it could try to break out of it. So yeah, like only like if you look at gold, like let's see the 1 hour chart. Like, yeah, 4100 looked like it almost got tapped. Like if you look at the 1 hour here, for example, you have that low that we're underneath. Market's in a place that it's holding. Like when you're in a bearish trend, you want to look for those spots that's like, okay, we just broke underneath it, we could stay underneath here. We broke underneath here, we could stay underneath. So when you're looking at the 1 hour here, you broke underneath here. It could still stay underneath that low, right? 4100, you can see came close, almost reacted there, like pretty much tapped 4100. You can monitor that. I think it's a good area to monitor because obviously it's a psychological price. We've seen gold just crash down this week a lot. Free falling, big price difference. So it's definitely a good psychological level to watch. $4,100. And possibly we see 4K soon on gold. $4,000 could be seen possibly on gold. Like if 4,100 doesn't hold, then you'll end up seeing 4K gold. You have that low there, which it's like, okay, when you're looking at intraday, like where we're at right now, we could still hold that low technically, right? Possibly continue down to 4,100, break down 4,100. I'd be observant of 4,100, but understanding we are still like in a weaker momentum overall. And this guy here looks interesting. This guy here, DXY. Just when we do some technicals, we can do some technicals here, right? You can see the market like reversed in here, but really started breaking out here. And if we look at structure, even some support and resistance, we got a nice resistance here. That dollar broke out of, it's above this resistance, this whole entire consolidation it made all of this consolidation here and then started breaking upside. So this huge range here that we just broke out of, that we're above. So you see that strength overall here in the trend and the structure. We have that line, trend line I just drew, and we can see a strong push up here, consolidated out, broke out to the upside. So when we're looking at like this push, we're looking at this push up. It's a pretty strong push up. And the market's all above this resistance, this level. All right, the structure, trend, the strength of this looks like it's pointing, more upside. GU, maybe interesting spot. GU had like a crazy wick on the 4 hour up here. New York session almost came right to this area. Nice drop here. Pump up, then drops. So GU, look at the last candle on GU. Hit the 61.8. Last candle here wicked up pretty crazy there on GBP USD. Psychological level 2, the 134, $1.34. We got a psychological level there on GU, $1.34, 00 flat, whole number. Looks like it spiked up almost to 250. So you got like an area here on GU that does look pretty interesting. That if dollar, like I'm looking at, if dollar does break out, if dollar does try to break out, GU would be a good trade down. If dollar does try to break out, GU would be a good trade for down. So yeah, where's gold right now? Testing 4,100. That's where we crashed down to in March. Crashed down to 4,100. Yeah, I think we could see a rebound, like on gold. We should see a rebound. It could go, yeah, it could go below 41, but 41 would be the first level to watch. Like, it just came super close. So I think for buys, that's just the area I'm going to be watching. Like I said last night, I even mentioned some stuff in Discord, Telegram, publicly about that level, how it could come into it. I was saying yesterday, like 4,100 is a major area of interest. I was saying this is an area we could come into. So I would keep an eye on it, be observant. This is last night. You might have a long way to go on gold though. Like if we get the next like big retracement could take you down to 3,700. If where's the last weekly low here at? Here at 4K, around 4K. So see 4K, that's right around $4,000. You got that weekly low. You break that, gold could come all the way down to here. But then it's about like the waves to get there, because this isn't just gonna dump. If it breaks that, it'll eventually have that rebound for continuations, right? If it breaks this low, gold could drop all the way down to like 3,700, 3,500. If it breaks this low. Yeah, you'd really want like a bigger retracement back to like 4,300, 4,280. Or even when you break it down to daily, you can find some levels that if it retraces back to, you could get good continuations. Could be on the way to 4K, because if you look at 4K, that's like the last, like when we look at the lows right here, $4,000, we have a low there on the weekly. Yeah, like to say I want like this gold to do this and this is, it's not super realistic, because it doesn't have to do that right now. So it's like, yeah, that can happen, but like it's realistic, but not at the same time for me to just be like, yo guys, this is what I'm looking for. Because gold could do this realistically. Gold could come down and then do that same thing. So it's like, it's not as realistic. Like, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. You know, I would want price to come back to there for a big move, right? That would be an area I'd want it to retrace to, but it's not realistic for me to just be like, all right, guys, from here, we could expect, that's why I'm saying 4,100 could be a level where maybe it starts a bounce back. Could be a level to observe, to watch. Yeah, but for me to be like, yo, right here, for example, not super realistic. If I'm like, it's good analysis, but price could still go down and make that move. It's like, okay, let's get a retracement back to here. Let's bounce back and look for sells. We're on a daily chart right now, so it's not like super realistic, because price could drop to 4K before making that move up. Could come down lower and then make a move up. And we might have a different zone by then, something even lower. So, yeah, like, Yes and no, because it could go down more and still make that same move up. And then go for continuations. So you have to like 4,100. That's an area I'd keep an eye on for buys. Like price could react. $4K could be on the way. Well, when you're trading like day trading or scalping, just going to the chart, like it's kind of just looking for what's on the chart at that time. London session, Tokyo session, or New York session. And on a 30-minute, you'll be able to find setups that are inside of the trend. So if gold just keeps breaking down, like you have some points you can try to mark and reference. Like if this just keeps breaking down, right? Like here you have this low. Could retest that and just keep continuing down. If it just keeps continuing down, you're looking for more like that flow, those retests, those break and retests. Let it form supports along the way down. Like there was a good one last night here. Was lucky enough to kind of be awake at the time, 4 o'clock in the morning. There was a good one here that was happening in the moment where it was breaking and there was a low here. So it's like gold, if it just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping, and it forms like another 1 hour low, and it like just breaks that, it's like you could have setup, right? That gives you a continuation. There could be a different low printed at a later time. Like this was printed last night. Market went up and then quickly came down. And I recognize that low that was printed. So like a different low could get printed, right? If a lower low gets printed, right? We break 4,100, we make a new low. It's like, okay. Next pullback, I could look for potential continuations. Or if that low, we break underneath it, I understand, okay, that low could be potentially used. It doesn't have to be just like, oh, 4,100, you could attempt it for buys. If it doesn't hold, it doesn't have to be like there's a buy underneath it or there's another buy or FOMO like that. It could just be like, let me wait till 4K then, or let me wait till tomorrow. Because if you break underneath it, you make a lower low, it's like, okay, we have that bearish momentum still. Because we do have bearish momentum, right? There's overall bearish momentum. Oh, there's the sirens, always. Yo, some of you guys have been hearing those sirens for a minute. It's because I got the window open. So even now when you're looking at line, like 30-minute of this low, which when you look at like the candle wicks, we're just kind of wicking, staying below that, still showing you some bearish momentum even there. 1 hour is underneath that low right there. 30-minute, you have these wicks here that you broke, you made a lower low, you're still kind of underneath that. So it's like 4,100 doesn't have to hold. If it doesn't, kind of like playing price maybe at a later time, seeing if there's any structures that can form. That's like, okay, we made a lower low, let me look for a pullback, or if you get like a break under a prominent low. It happened a couple times today, like it didn't happen a lot. It didn't really happen in here, you know, here you had a low. Kind of happened today, you had like literally this low. It's kind of like that. If you keep breaking down and you just keep breaking down on gold, but you get a low and then price keeps breaking under that low, kind of like this price action that you've seen today underneath 4,100. That'll be like, you know, even if like there's a bit of support formed around 4,100, but it still breaks underneath it. So you'd have a bigger support area to use. That kind of goes like this. What I'm talking about right now goes with the dollar thesis. You know what I was saying about the dollar? How the dollar looks kind of stronger overall. That, what I'm talking about right now, would go with a stronger dollar. Dollar keeping more control, dollar staying stronger. So if dollar keeping momentum, dollar looks like it's going to keep breaking out. You might see more waves down on gold, kind of like I was just explaining. That make lower lows, break down. Maybe they make a sharp, maybe it could be on the 30 minute. You can make like something sharp on the 30 minute that forms a bit of a reversal. Something that's noticeable. Like it doesn't have to be a 5 minute. Like even this low that was just kind of formed at 4100. If it breaks underneath it strong enough, that could just be like, okay, maybe there's a retest. Gonna continue down underneath $4,100. This would be dollar breaking out realistically. If dollar's gonna kind of hold itself, this looks like a flag pattern to me, right? To me, I'm seeing more of like a flag pattern on this chart for DXY. What? 30 minute, we'll grab more liquidity. 38, 37, retail full porting for sure. Everyone's full porting right now too. I'm taking it slow. Taking it slow. I'm not full porting right now. I usually by now I learned some lessons the last month. All right, so we all learn. It's all learning experiences for every trader. Adapting. You always learn. You always learn. I had a buddy who lost like $1.5 million straight, and I was like, dude, oh shit, man. I was happy to hear that. I had a buddy who lost like 1.5 million full porting longs the last like 3-4 months. I'm like, oh, like thanks for that made me feel better. Imagine, fuck, yo, levels, levels. Imagine being down like 1.3 mil full porting longs the last month. I know someone, and they're worth a lot of money. They're good. Like they're good. They're like fuck. They're like I learned my they looked at the market like they were like I learned my lesson. It is what it is. I knew what I did wrong. Like I should have, could have, you know. By now, you guys probably thought I would have been in buys, but no, I've been chilling. I haven't sent a signal. I haven't sent a trade. I've been chilling. Should have sent this sell, honestly. This is the signal I should have sent today. I didn't send a signal today. Just been chilling. I should have sent this. This would have been realistically makes sense too because the 41.75 was there too. We had the low. We broke underneath, made lower low. 41.75 as well. I even said on that session because someone asked about 41.80 buys. I said, if you go where I broke this down, because someone was asking about 41.80 buys, I was saying, no, like you could probably flip this into a sell zone at 41.80 at that time. Yeah, gold. So gold's on a melt if we have a structure here, right? But then where else is structure then after that, realistically? Down here, I think there's a gap. I think there's a gap there too, like around that area. Realistically, where's the next structure point? It's all the way down there. If this 4100 4K doesn't hold, then yeah, you're probably gonna go down. And I guess you guys are right. Everyone's probably full porting gold right now too. Yeah, everyone's probably full porting right now because it's 4100. I wouldn't full port yet. I'll let you guys know when I full port, but that's when I'm going to be feeling good. Like when I'm like, yeah, okay. Not feeling that yet. Not feeling like, yo, I got to full port this right now for longs. No. Chilling. I've been chilling. I didn't send a signal today. Like if I get to that feeling, and I'll let you guys know if I get to that feeling or that time where I'm like, all right, I'm going to fucking long. Like full port, but I don't have that conviction yet for the market. It's still, you can look at the market and it looks weak. This is where like 15-minute even plays, like even little 15-minute structures become like doable for like scalps or just going with the flow that's there. 15, 30-minute inside of there. Sometimes the 5-minute can get messy and choppy. Even right here, you have this low that did a little break. You can see like some prominent points, some zones where we have like a low that ends up breaking. We have a low here that ends up breaking. So even these little structure points along the way down, like little bending points, like bending points. These little bending points, right, that you break underneath when the market has momentum. Same uptrend or downtrend. This would be, you know, bending points, turning points, 15, 30 minute. Those become reliable in the sense when momentum is here, because like here you get like a mini break and retest right there on this one. Little mini break and retest right there. You have a bending point right here. Maybe there's a little mini break and retest happening there. Not necessarily. You come back and retest that area one more time, actually. And here you can see a few. So like even like if you look at kind of right in front of us here, 15 minute, you have this low here, line chart, low. We understand there's wicks there, candle body. See how we just kind of retested that area? When you're in a trend, style like this works. When you're in a trend, the buys will be bounces. Like it can be easy to find buys in a trend like this, but how do you find buys in a market condition like this? Lower lows. You have to buy the lower lows. You have to buy the most prominent like lower lows where you actually have like congruent, significant, solidified structure made. Like here's a low. You go underneath the low, you make the next buy, or you go underneath the low, you make the next buy. In a market like this, there are gonna be bounces though too. Like they won't be like full reversal swings, right? Like to find buys in a market like this, you're trying to look at those lower lows when structure breaks, right? You might be good at that style, but you have to even understand that those can be bounces. Those can be bounces. Those can be bounces, right? Where it's buys in a market like this is when you really made a lower low on the 1 hour. Or the 30 minute even. If 1 hour is a good time frame. Or when you made like a lower low, you kind of mixed out with the 30 minute a bit. That's where you get buys in a market condition like this, but that's going against the trend. So it's like if you like 4100, yeah, like like full porting. We just had a little bounce here. If it breaks underneath, it could do some of the same things still, right? Like later on, even going into tomorrow. Because we got, like, dollar is one thing. Like, if dollar, that's the one thing. Like, if dollar, you have to look at this chart, too. If this, full porting it wouldn't be the best decision right now. Because if this wants to break out, even if it does it a bit later, gold's going to keep dropping. This, to me, looks, like a pennant, flag. Yeah, because if you look at daily, here now, like if you get a pullback to this area, like a bigger time frame, 4 hour daily, see that area? If you get a pullback to that, like on a bigger time frame, making a lower low, you eventually pull back to that area. That would be huge if we get a pullback to this area on like a 4 hour or daily. Yeah, like 4K, 4100. I want buys to happen so we can get that corrective move. Like I want the corrective move, not like to chase the buys. Like, you know, we are coming to some key we're coming to that last low on like the weekly structure. So yeah, 4100. I want the buys to happen realistically to look for that continuation here. Because once that buy comes in, that's probably where gold's gonna relatively like retrace to. That could be obviously longer term, but 4,100 could be a place to watch. 4K, 3,900 to start that move up. Once we start that move up, it's like eventually you're waiting for sells. Once gold finds a bottom and bounces, eventually you're going to be waiting for that next sell setup down, more than likely. So yo guys, look, this is what patience gets you, because everyone is asking if it's buys. Some people asked me if it was buys when it was up here. 4,100, almost tapped. It's close. It's rounding near it. Huge daily candle down. Yeah, like weekly, like that's where you would come to on gold longer term, see? That's where you full port gold realistically in here. That's where you full port longs on gold in that area. Right now it's a test because again we're in a bearish trend, like we're overall bearish momentum, so like understanding the lows that get made are just going to be retracements for continuations, bounces back up, rebounds to go down more. I don't know, CAD 4,100 hold, possibly. Like, I wouldn't full port it though. No, I wouldn't like full port it. I just treat it like a regular trade. Understand it can break underneath. We do have bearish momentum. I wouldn't just like full port it. You'll probably get maybe like a scalping reaction, because if it breaks, that tells us like dollar could be stronger. If it dumps underneath, it's gonna bounce back up. If it dumps underneath and it goes to 4,080, it's gonna bounce right back up probably and continue. So you could see if like a scalping reaction happens, like it already tried right there. Literally there was a bounce right there. You could possibly get like a scalping reaction, use a small stop loss. But is the dollar moving right now? See when the dollar, notice the price, when the dollar just goes up a little bit in price, gold is just weakening out more and more and more right now, right? So GU sells might be something. Remember what I said, GU could be something. EU didn't get right up there. It almost tried. NU looks weak. NZDUSD looks weak. AUDUSD is weaker. So yeah, we're testing 4,100 right now for gold. All right. I wouldn't full port it if you're gonna long at 4,100. I would just, you know, use moderate risk. Be prepared that dollar strength could come in, and if it does, you get like breaks down more. You're gonna keep breaking down more. So like, I wouldn't go full port. You know, treat it like a moderate risk. It is in a key area where it could bounce, psychological level. I always like to use prices like 4,100, 4K. Day trading gold be a war right now, because there's a mini low. Like when we look at 41, there's a mini low here. So when we're looking at price action right now, 1 hour, start from the 4 hour. 4 hour candle's bearish. It has a top wick on it. 1 hour has bearish candles behind it. It's bearish right now. 30-minute engulfing down. 15-minute still a bit weaker, but now we have that point of reference there that broke. But look, 15-minute, you have a mini low now here, right? So you have a mini support, minor support right here. So you're already starting to make a bending point right there. Imagine if we break underneath that bending point, maybe at a later time. Doesn't have to be right now. It could be at a later time. It could be, right? You would then get continuations, and that's more with dollar strength. So buys could happen here. Just understand the risk too. Like you don't have to full every trade. Like I'll tell you guys when I feel like, yo, there's crazy buys, but it's just every trade, like, treat the same. Because it could be a reaction here. It could react here, or it doesn't have to. It could react hundreds of pips, or it's not going to react, and you're just going to get continuations down. Break underneath the low. See, it wicked a little bit below 4,100 as well. As you can see, a little bit of a wick below it. If dollar, like, finds a reversal, if you see dollar reverse, like dollar dump down, then yeah, big gold buys would come in. Gold would probably end up shooting to 4,300, well, 4,200, 4,300 range. But it's just weaker at the moment, so just recognizing that, like, overall momentum is weak. You saw how, like, we just broke, see these points here on the 15-minute? You see these little bending points even just here on the 15-minute that are just kind of holding price. At times you're getting a little price, it's just price action. That's gold right there for you. Break, retest, break, retest, mini one. So when you're looking at even just a low like this, if the market crashes down more, that low could be a point of reference where it's like, okay, we're underneath that now. Let me see if we stay underneath it. That's how you trade, like, momentum trends, going with the trends, that understanding, that thinking, maybe even understanding of it. So it's like, what's a hedge? A hedge would be, like, for me, like, maybe, I don't know, GU sells. If dollar's gonna go up, GU sells would come in. If you're looking for gold buys, GU sells is like, that would be opposite. If you get that dollar strength. Dollar, 4 hours flipping bullish. 4 hour looks like it's about to close bullish. We had a corrective move here. Yeah, like, dollar does look bullish overall when you look at DXY. We tapped into this low. This 4 hours flipping. Understand, like, if this breaks, yeah, if this breaks up, because this has been consolidating, like, it pumped up last week and it's been consolidating. That's why gold dumped. It's been consolidating. So if it makes even just, like, if it even just, it doesn't have to go like this. It could just break out a bit and you would see gold fall more. A lot more. Because gold's already dropping with this consolidation, so with this strength already. So if it's like, if this breaks out, you would see gold drop a lot more. That's where it's like, okay, that's where it becomes, okay, we're underneath $4,100. Does it stay underneath 4,100, right? Where it's like, okay, 4,100 does look like a good buy because of the price, but if that dollar strength resumes and it stays in the holding pattern, you're gonna see gold keep going down. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. That's where GU sells would be. Look at the wick GU just had. GU just had a pretty crazy wick up here. It did have a pretty crazy wick as well on GBP USD. Euro had that same spike up. GU looks interesting. Gold, I like 4,100, but I'm just, at the same time, I understand just the tonality of the market right now. I do like 4,100 possibly for, you know, a bounce. That's what I was thinking last night. But understand, it doesn't have to hold here with the way the dollar is. So yeah, if 4,100 doesn't hold, guys, it means we're probably just going, it means gold's going to keep going down, probably closer to 4K. I mean, if 4,100 doesn't hold, that probably means the dollar strength is in. And we're going to get that continuation on the dollar. I could possibly hold. You know, I wouldn't even use a huge stop loss, because if it breaks, it's like obvious what's happening. It could try to come back up to the high or reverse out of here if 4,100 is that level. Like I said, we did come down to here. Crazy. It seemed far away. It seemed far away 2 days ago, but the market actually came into this zone here. But yeah, just remember, like, if you break 41, what that kind of means, like, momentum's weak. Momentum is already weak, right? If you break 4,100, that means you're getting just continuations, right? Underneath it, more likely. Because if you break it, that tells me dollar is, you know, stronger. Like, doing what it's doing, how it looks. Dollar is how it looks. Dollar looks like a flag pattern. If dollar breaks up too, I wonder what that means for like Bitcoin too. Yeah, if dollar breaks up, then like Bitcoin probably gonna take the down then too. Bitcoin still has some time to go down. We've been talking about that on some streams, especially in the inner circle. But yeah, like Bitcoin still has some time. Talked about that last night. Still some time there. I think President Trump's gonna go. I think there's gonna be a lot happening over the next couple of days too. Trump, if you guys see what Trump's been saying, I think Trump's gonna go hard. He said he always has something to say, but yeah, dollar. Just beware, right? If you look at DXY, even weekly last week engulfed, daily's been 1, 2, 3 days just chop. 4 hours kind of in that flag. When you look at the 4 hour, you have a low here, you have a low, and then you made this high, and it just tapped in here. Could go up. Even that move happens, gold's gonna sink down. Even if that move happens alone. So it's like buys could be risky with where the market's at. Like it's not, you know, like it could just be a bounce here, and momentum's just gonna keep grinding down. And this same level that kind of became a bounce here could be coming to like a sell zone with 4,100. Kind of like what it's been doing along the way down. It's been doing a bit of that. You have that like here, you have that like here. So 4,100, we see it could try to break. And look at the dollar's price is going up right now, right? So with that being said, if dollar keeps pushing, this is gonna break down. All right, so buys, like I said, $4,100 buys. I know we talked about it a lot last stream. I wouldn't full port it. I wouldn't do crazy risk. If you're gonna take buys there, I'd be aware that markets are still weak. Momentum's overall weak in the bearish momentum. It could break down, even try to retest it because of the dollar too. I think there's gonna be more attacks today too. Like you're gonna see more news with USA, Iran probably over the day. Dollar pumping. GU. Remember I said GU might be something. GU could be the one. Yeah, dollar's strong right now, so watch out with those gold buys. Dollar is strong. 4,100 is a good price, but we could end up just flipping it, right? Watch out with those gold buys. Watch out with those gold buys. Thursday, New York. It could be Thursday, like it's Wednesday still. We're going into Thursday for the market. It could be Thursday, Friday reversals for sure. Potentially like buys at the end of the week. GU doesn't look bad. Like GU might not be a bad idea. GBPUSD on the 4 hour doesn't look too bad. Like we just had some rejection here. This thing could start to move down. That goes with the dollar strength if dollar's going to keep going up. So gold, you really have two options. It's either you take the 4,100. 4,100 could be what it is, $4,100 buys, whatever. Or just wait the market out, come back later tonight or London session, check the market tomorrow or at a different time. Because 4,100 is either going to hold. We already had like a reaction off of it here. You're either going to get like a nice hold here, a reaction off of it, or you're going to end up flipping that zone because of the dollar strength. All right, that's really all I see for gold right now. It's either $4,100 buys or waiting to see if $4,100 breaks. If you get a break on 4,100 and continuations down. So we have two options: 4,100 possible buys, or just waiting to see if you get that break and retest underneath 4,100. Or you have GBPUSD sells possibly. Like that looks like it's lining up like 4-hour chart to possibly dump down. But yeah, that's really it for me today, guys. I'm gonna wrap this up. Quick little update. I didn't trade today. Didn't want to, just because of the way the market was moving. Yeah, it's either $4,100 buys, which is kind of risky right now because of dollar. Dollar could, again, or you're just waiting to see if you break lower, which could happen, and pull back continuation. GU might be interesting. Yeah, the flag pattern, y'all. That flag pattern's, you got a flag pattern there on gold. I mean dollar. That flag pattern breaks out, gold's gonna dump even more and take out all the buyers. Yeah, it looks like it's trying to break 4,100. It potentially could break and retest it. See, like we're breaking it now. We're engulfing underneath it. So like literally this could do like something similar to what I was explaining last night when I was on at like 4 o'clock in the morning. This, what I was saying with this, break underneath, retest. Could do the same thing. Breaking underneath. Gold's probably going to break underneath 41, go to retest it. GU, that might be, I'm saying GU for a reason, all right? GU, all right? Maybe that. Keep an eye on that. Yeah, it looks like you're trying to get underneath that little bend. Remember, you had that little bending point there on the 15 minutes, so it could be trying to get underneath that, retest it. Kind of like what I was explaining here last night. Again, with this candlestick last night. I was explaining this. Kind of live in action. Yeah, 4,100 is risky because of dollar strength, but that's my update for right now, guys. It's either 4,100 holds or it doesn't. It looks like it's weak right now, like it's not going to hold. It's like $2 below it, so that level is either going to hold. It's a make it or break it basically level, but with the dollar strength, it looks like it could break it to me. I gotta wrap it up though. I'll be live later, checking out the markets later, seeing where gold's at, or even tomorrow morning, seeing where gold's at. In this environment, you either just gotta stay patient, sit in your hands, wait for the right setup. Like, it's not showing the hugest conviction to buy at 4,100. So you gotta just check up on the charts and look for different setups that could go with the flow if you're really trying to get in. Which is kind of like some of the things I was explaining earlier, like these setups that break and retest. There's been a few along the way down with gold. I went over one last night. And what I was explaining on the 5-minute before, how when the 5 minutes just dropping, you might be able to find some retests inside of there. This looks like it's breaking. I'm going to try to retest and potentially hold, potentially hold underneath $4,100. That's why when I talked about $4,100, I didn't just mean like I'm going to buy right when it hits. I'm going to observe price, see where the market's at, watch the candlesticks, not just jump in. So when it comes down to whole numbers and trading strategy like that, it's not always about just jumping in right when the market hits a specific price. It could be observing, watching, staying a bit patient. Because like dollar right now, we can see is clearly pushing up. So, and if that flag pattern forms on the dollar, then we know gold will keep dumping. So it looks like we might be trying to get under that low at 4,100 for break and retest. Kind of what it's been doing along the way down here on some different time frames. I hope GU goes down. GU rejected. Like, it's not the cleanest entry point. You'd want like pullbacks, maybe scaling in, positioning in. If this candle closes bearish, it could be like an engulfing candle, but GU could bring in sells with that dollar strength realistically. Yeah, gold's breaking 41. That's why, like, I even said last night, I'm not going to buy it right when it hits 41. I'm going to observe it, see how price is behaving when it hits that level. Observe it, watch it. Because look at the dollar. As the dollar goes up, gold keeps going down. See? So we're breaking this low right here. We're breaking this low. And the same thing's probably going to happen with that low. That low is probably going to turn into like a break and retest. You see, before this, you had literally a break and retest right here. You had this low. What happened? It broke. It wicked back to it. Retested it. You had this low right here. What happened? Market wicked back. Retested it. And then now we have a low here. So we're breaking underneath it. We'll probably go to the 80s. We're probably going to shoot down to the 80s here. And then get like a bounce around the 70s or 80s with gold. And then potentially retest it realistically. That's what it looks like. That's what the chart looks like right now. It could turn into like one of those lows even up there. Like you had like this low, this whole area that broke, retested. You even had one right here that didn't hold forever, but there was even a retest right there. So see those yellow levels. Look at dollar's price. As dollar's price goes up, notice gold keeps going down right now because you're in a bearish trend and dollar is stronger. But dollar's been consolidating. It hasn't even broken up. It broke up at the end of last week. If dollar really breaks out, gold's gonna crash down to like 4K or maybe even 3,900 if dollar really breaks out. Like if we break out of that flag, like if we break out of the flag, the gold's gonna crash down then, right? To like 4K. So now we're clearly underneath 4,100, right? And this candle is important because if you notice, at the 15 minute, it's like engulfing now underneath here. Strong momentum. So now it's underneath 4,100. So now we know what we're looking for. We didn't buy there at 4,100. Now we know we're looking for sells below. Now we know, okay, we're still looking for those sells. It's not ready to reverse yet. So now we know we're like waiting for that pullback entry continuation, possibly. Or we're trying to stick with that momentum. Maybe one more ride, but that's what it's looking like right now on gold. We broke the low. That's what you're waiting for. I called it before it even happened. I said this could break down. Dollar could, dollar Look at dollar right now. So it's that dollar strength right now. So yeah, literally I did say this thing could, there's the chart I drew before here. So it's gonna follow my chart. It's gonna go down here and then it's gonna bounce and then it's gonna come back up. GBPUSD could drop, like I said. But see, 4,100, not a good buy. If you took the buy, I mean, that's why I was saying don't full port anything. I would say like right now the market's still weak, right? The momentum is where it is. Try to go with the momentum until it's like, okay, this just shifted completely. So looking like we might come down to 4K or lower 4,000s, like closer to $4,000. Possible pullback for continuations, probably tonight on gold. Possible, like probably going to be more continuations, especially with that dollar. Especially with the way the dollar's moving at the moment. Another sell, another possibility. Maybe tonight. The market could even hold that into these afternoon hours. Not the best time of the day to be trading, really. I mean, there's volume right now on all markets because headlines are always happening. There's a major war happening right now. And the war is escalating. Like, it's escalating yesterday, today, probably until tomorrow. This thing is also starting to escalate a bit as well. Trump, I think President Trump says U.S. will attack Iran hard today, so you're going to see more escalation happen today probably with this war as gold is going down to these lower prices. So yeah, now we're underneath 41. You could possibly get like a retracement to it and continuations. That's how we're looking. That's how we're looking. Hungry. Yeah, no, not eating today. Today we're eating rice and ground beef. We don't deserve to. Crypto's down. Gold's just dumping. Everything's about to be dumping. Today we're eating rice, ground beef, and chicken. That's what I'm eating today. That's really the play now for gold, so it seems. 4,100 didn't react. Nothing happening around here that looks special. Market's still breaking down. Maybe there's a retest off of it. I wouldn't buy until the 4 hour gives you, like, here's the thing too. Like, I wouldn't buy until, like, yeah, 4,100 is a good price, but the 4 hour hasn't done anything at it yet. So I wouldn't buy really until the 4. And I said this last stream too. Until like the 4 hour does something. If you look, the 4 hours been all red candlesticks. So you haven't had anything much on the 4 hour except for like up here, which ended up like breaking, retesting. But if you look at here, like, I would wait until like the 4 hour actually maybe shows you even just a rejection candle, even though that one didn't play out. But just still, like, even waiting for the 4 hour to show you more of a sign of a confirmation. That, like, for buys, I think that would be what to really wait for if you're trying to jump in buys. Wait for the 4 hour to give you some rejection candlesticks. Yeah, like I said, looking like we could potentially get continuations under 4,100. Dollar is still pushing up right now too, so the bigger picture is if dollar breaks out this flag pattern. All right, if we break out, we're making a flag pattern here. Everything's gonna keep dumping, but I'll see everybody next stream. I stayed on a little bit longer there. I was gonna wrap it up, but I gotta go now. I'll see everybody on the next stream. All right. That's today's update. Hope you guys took notes. Went over a lot of stuff. Talking about GBPUSD, the dollar, and gold. All right. So I'm out. I will